Good evening and welcome to Curtain Call, our podcast all about theater. From the page to the stage, from the players to the playhouses, we bring you the stories of the people who bring you the stories that we see on stage throughout the city of Detroit and throughout America. All about theater. And we're so blessed today at the beginning of the theater season. It's September, y'all, and theater is starting up everywhere, all across the city of Detroit, in playhouses and theater companies and schools throughout the Detroit metropolitan area. And today we're blessed to have two theater people in the studio with us. We have a playwright and actress and producer, Miss Robbie Taylor, and we have an actress and singer and possibly a playwright as well, Miss Erica Auntie 313 Carter is in the house. And so we're just happy to have them here today and excited about exploring their lives and hearing all about their experiences in theater and what they have to say about theater. You know, we're about the business of growing the culture, growing the performing arts in the city of Detroit as it relates to stage plays. And so we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about their works and see what they're doing so you can go out and watch them and support them, and as we try to support each and every person in the city of Detroit doing theater. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Welcome to Curtain Call. And we're so happy to have you. Robbie, we're going to start with you. Again, welcome to Curtain Call.
Thank you.
I was reading your bio, and I understand you left Detroit to go study with Lee Strasberg.
Yes, at the Lee Strasberg Institute.
At the Lee Strasberg Institute. That's a major name in terms of teaching theater training, period. And
Big name.
Yeah, that's a major name. And so we want to start with what made you decide you wanted to go to Detroit and study under Lee Strasberg, which takes us back to my usual question. What drew you into theater? What was the bug? What was the impetus that said, I can do this? I want to do this.
You know, actually I was living on the West Coast, and I came back to Detroit. I carefree. I was in photography initially, and a friend of mine said, hey, they're filming a movie, Collision Course, with Pat Morita and Jay Leno. You want to do it? Sure. Making extra money. I was a college student. Sure. Had a great time. I think it was about 2 or 3 months that they did it here. And it was finished filming. So time to go back to school, go back to a part-time job. So I did that. And then that same friend called and said, hey, she was going to Wayne State at the time. I was going to Center for Creative Studies. Let's audition for Lee Strasberg in New York. Oh, okay. Got a ticket, went, had the audition. My audition, I thought, went really well, but the lady was very honest with me. She said, I almost didn't take you. But see, you can't tell a child of God now. And I was accepted into the program. I want to say that was like in a January, and I was off to New York by that June.
Okay.
And absolutely had a good time at the school. And at Lee Strasberg, people like Marilyn Monroe, Cicely Tyson went there, Al Pacino. So you know you into this mecca of greatness. But that wasn't enough for me, because being a photographer, your vision is still different. So you do a few things. You do Law and Order, this and that. I was featured on Law and Order as an attorney, and you doing stuff, and you got an agent. But that's not enough. Sitting there waiting. I ventured off into being, I was in a play actually there called Making the Big Time. And I said, if these 3 sisters from D.C. could write this play, I could write a play. And I did that. I placed the ad in the backstage. I found a ton of actors out of New York, and that's kind of where it evolved. Seeing that you could do it, people like it, so you do it again. The first show I did was called Something Special in Harlem. Found a lot of great actors to be in that show, very talented. One of the guys I found up at Apollo sang like Luther Vandross.
Wow.
But he didn't make it. And that's okay, because I saw him walking down the street afterwards. Hey, I'm doing a play called Something special in Harlem. He said that made his day. So you start putting people together, and like I said, I did it a few years in New York, and it did really well, and that's kind of where it evolved, and I never went back to trying to be an actress, always writing. So yeah.
Okay. What's the play about?
It was about, yes, it was about two siblings that they were set out to go to school, but their mom always instilled into them to, you might be going to school for this, but also make sure you have a backup plan. That's the way I was taught. My grandmother said, always make sure you have a backup plan. So that's what it was all about. Their backup plan, which wasn't their first plan, was to become singers. And they went off to do very well in this craft, you know. So it was a very good plan, very good plan. And then I wrote some other stuff, and then I went to NYU for film and video, and so that was pretty much it. And then I went to a very phenomenal school up on 96th Street called Frederick Douglass Creative Arts Center. Mr. Fred Hudson also taught down at NYU. So on 96th Street, he only taught these classes for $96. So you were still, even though I went to NYU, you were still getting this great quality of direction and creativity and with your writing for $96. And I was in a classroom with very smart, to me I thought was smarter than me. And there was a young lady in that class that I could not wait to see her paper. It was her thesis paper for NYU's film school. And everybody every week would turn in their script, right? And this is for people out there that's writing. Don't ever make yourself feel like somebody's doing better than you. You just keep on going, because that's what happened to me. We got her thesis paper, and it was not good. I said, wow, this is not good. This is not good. So that gave me some type of confidence, you know. So, and then I had kids in New York, so I had to put it down for a second, and then I returned to theater when I got back to Detroit, doing shows like Conversations. Conversations is a story about Dorothy Dandridge and Marilyn Monroe's friendship. It opened up with, excuse me, Dorothy Dandridge at her apartment in Harlem. She has her housekeeper. The doorbell rings, and Dorothy is reading her paper. The housekeeper goes to get the door. She doesn't know that it's Marilyn Monroe. And Marilyn Monroe has on a white coat. And she's quiet. She tiptoes in. Dorothy's like, oh, well, who was at the door, Gladys? And Marilyn said, oh, it's me. And they were so glad to see each other. And she said, what brings you to town? You know what brought her to town was JFK's birthday. She came to sing Happy Birthday, Mr. President.
In that dress.
In that dress, and I had on the actress that dress with that big blonde wig. So I did another show called Rita. Rita was set in Harlem. She was a school teacher that was double-crossed by her friend. All in good taste, and the audience loved that. I did, there's so many shows. Sweetheart Swindler. The Vandellas also gave me access to their life story. Yes, they did. Rosalind and Annette. They were in their audience, they said, crying. That show touched them, you know. So, you know, God is good. And, you know, when He bless you with the gift.
That show was about the Vandellas, not mine.
The Vandellas, yeah.
Wow.
Did you do something with them?
No, I didn't. Tanya did. Tanya Boyd sang with them after.
All right, she went off to California, didn't she?
Well,
was that?
Roz is not well right now.
I know.
But I've been knowing them for forever. They're such sweethearts.
Sweethearts, aren't they?
They never stop.
No.
I was thinking of another group.
No.
The Marvelettes?
No, was it the Emotions?
Yeah, I was doing stuff with the Emotions.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I was listening to their greatest hits the other day. You could never listen to them too much.
Oh, they are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And sweethearts, really nice people.
Genuine. That's what it's all about. You know, you got a lot of these people nowadays. They get so full of themselves, thinking it's about them.
I know.
You've been around the world.
Fully,
You
I
know. You
trust
know.
me.
Forget.
Yeah, that's true.
So you went. You said acting was not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And you went to NYU, film and theater. Okay, so you took writing courses.
I did with Mr. Saul Zachary at Frederick Douglass Creative Arts Center.
Okay.
He taught you. He taught you. He taught you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Phenomenal teacher, instructor, professor.
Okay. One of the things that I've always wanted to explore with someone on this show is the whole writing process. There are a lot of plays, and we've discussed this a couple of times. A lot of plays that they're formulaic, and they follow a certain. It's a specific genre that they are, and they're entertaining, and people go see them. People love them. Not the type of play I write myself.
All right, me either.
But
Mama burnt the chicken, part 15.
What you would call the turnkey method. It's like a method that's put to everything that they write. So it's like you get.
I've never heard turnkey.
Well, actually, I was going to go to school in New York to learn how to do turnkey reality shows. Just specific formula, but turnkey is basically saying this is the outlay for it, and some people just stick to that format because it's easiest for them. But then when you go and see their work, you know what to expect, and sometimes that can just take away a little bit of the, you know.
Yeah, I agree. We always
The
talk
excitement.
about that because it seems like a lot of the movies have the same concept,
Right.
use the same people, and the storylines are always pretty much identical.
Generic.
And after a while, you're like, okay, I saw that three movies ago.
Right.
I don't want to see that again.
Right.
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 And so I wanted to ask you about the writing process. What aspects of the writing process would you say if you were talking to somebody who wants to be a writer, who wants to write theater? And I know there's foundational things that you need to know. What are some of those things that you would advise a young writer?
Get to the point.
Okay.
A lot of times we find you go support like somebody locally's show, and they're just beating you over the head. You said that already. Then they say it again. Then they get to the point and just make it interesting. Don't be afraid. Like where there's laughter, put laughter. You know, I've had shows where this audience might laugh and just be falling over, and then you got another audience come in, they hardly laugh. They're like, I don't think they like it, and loved it. Loved it, but you still got to make it interesting and not predictable. And that a lot of that has to do with directing. Like, for example, in Rita, her friend who double-crossed her, it was quite different. It wasn't just your standard because it was set in the 60s. She had her boyfriend, her fiance at the time, come over. Well, he was going over there to tell her, we can't do this anymore. And that she had the morals of an alley cat. He can't continue to do this to his fiance.
Meow, meow.
So during that time that he kept saying that, she kept coming closer in that direction. And he's like, no, I can't, and backing up, and no, and the curtains are closing, no, 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 and then you see him go off to the other side, which is the bedroom side, and the audience is, ooh, they wasn't expecting that. So it's your direction and your writing and the actor, the tone. Make it interesting, because I know this is not typical. And like I said, it was set in that one was set in the 60s. And her dad had left her some money, and her friend was envious because she wore hand-me-downs, and Rita, only child, never did. So that whole, and they're happy, and Rita's so positive. She's a school teacher, and this girl is, a little jealous, but she never knew. And that girl was also getting engaged, but she practicing with somebody else, making her husband think, or future husband think, she's never been touched.
No.
Oh, wow.
It was quite interesting.
It sounds like
And they're all having this celebration at her mom's house. It's that old school, what we know, what we go back to. You know, like the Vandellas, when I did their show, it was the big TV and the family there. So excited watching them on the Ed
Ed
Sullivan
Sullivan
show.
show, about to say.
Yeah. So that's where I take you to familiar that you can embrace. It's not the same. It's not typical. Even when I do Black History Month, I've done Black History Month at the Ford House